Hello, it's your favorite sports Unc here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry. We're now joined by 3-time Sixth Man of the Year. On April 9th, 2019, he became the oldest player in NBA history to score 50 points in a game. And he's also the first and only player thus far to score at least 50 points for 4 different franchises. And he's the newest analyst. He's going to be calling game for NBC next season. The one, the only, Jamal Crawford. Jamal, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, bro. Me and Ocho, we got a thing we got to handle. We'll deal with that.
All right. the trade that happened last night, Luka, a superstar beyond superstar, a global superstar, in his absolute, he's not even hit his prime yet, Jamal. He's 25 years of age. He's a 5-time first-team All-NBA player. And they trade him for Anthony Davis and a first-round pick in, I think, 2029 and Max Christie. And in return, the Lakers get Luka, they get Max Kleber, and they get Markieff Morris, he was on the 2020 Laker team that won the championship. So Lakers receive Luka, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris. The Mavs get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. Also, the Jazz receive Jalen Hood-Scarafino, a 2025 second-round pick, a 2025 second-round pick via the Clippers. Jamal, when you heard this trade, I thought it was bull jive. I thought somebody had got hacked because ain't no way the Mavs are trading Luka. But lo and behold, it is absolutely true. Luka Doncic is on the move. Anthony Davis is going to the Mavericks. What is your assessment of the trade? Why do you think this trade happened?
I'm with you, Unc. I thought it was bull jive at first too. I thought ain't no way Luka's being traded. Like you said, all his accolades, he ain't even reached his prime yet. And if I'm a young NBA star, I'm not comfortable anywhere, because if Luka can be traded at this stage of his career, where he's at, where he was going, anybody can be traded. But I said last year on Shaq's podcast, I said, if I'm the Lakers, I'm looking at trading Anthony Davis. And people thought I was crazy. I said, if LeBron is still your best player right now, you got to have better pieces to complement him. Yes, they won in the bubble. Yes, but LeBron is still looking like he's LeBron. So with that being said, I got to get pieces. I didn't know Luka was on the table when that happened. Who knew? But if I'm LA, I got to take that deal. I have to, because now you're planning for the now and the future. As LeBron says, you know what, I'm going to wear it down. I'm going to hang it up whenever that is, 1, 2, 3, 4 years, whenever it is. You have a bona fide superstar who has not reached his prime, who other people want to play with. Luka is box office, so we know he's going to bring the Hollywood lights. He fits Hollywood. His game's Hollywood. On the other side for Dallas, it's a perfect compliment to Kyrie. They obviously are going to make some more moves. They didn't trust the fact that they will have to give Luka almost $400 million. Whatever's going on behind the scenes is really loud right now, because now we're looking like, you know what? How can trade do like this? There had to be stuff that we don't know about.
I'm curious. I'm thinking ahead a little bit. Obviously, it had to be something internally for them to trade such a great player like that. Like both of you just said, is not even in his prime. So I'm looking forward to obviously the future, because Kyrie can opt out in the summer. And what are the chances of Kyrie actually joining LeBron again? I'm assuming LeBron comes back next year as well, and you have Luka, Kyrie, and LeBron.
So for me, I think obviously that could have been an option, but Kai got to have some type of faith. Like, you know what? I could have easily been moved. Like you said, my contract's up next year. They chose to stick with me. And if you look at how Jason Kidd speaks about Kai, he's always speaking glowingly. He does everything we want. You pair him with AD, that give Kai another win. Kai's back to being a point guard. He's still in his prime. He's still doing numbers. He still makes it look easy. You got AD. You got a bunch of money possibly with other moves to be made. If I'm Kai, I'm like, you know what? They stuck with me. And also they believed in him when nobody else wanted to give him multiple years on the contract as well. So you don't forget that type of stuff.
Okay. I'm looking at it, and I've said this. Everybody knows this is not right now. I gave Luka the name Baby Bird because I thought he was that special. He was the closest white player I had ever seen to Larry Bird. Everybody knew Larry Bird was my favorite, but I always questioned. I said, he looked like he's out of shape. I said, he looks like he's unconditioned. He looked like he doesn't take his training and his condition seriously, and he has some habits that, if you look at Rick Carlisle, You got Luka. Guys don't normally say, nah, I'm good, and leave a superstar player that's only 22 years of age, Jamal. So there was some things that was going on that wasn't being talked about. But if you know the game and you see, you like, something ain't adding up. And then plus, Luka is scheduled. He was the first player that was going to be able to get the Supermax. 5 years, $345 million. So basically $69 million a year. Jamal, if a guy's unconditioned, he doesn't take his training serious, he doesn't take conditioning serious, and there's some other things going around, if I give him $69 million, Jamal, and he might have some power that we need to rustle away from him. And if you hear, listen to Nico says, he says something about culture. When I hear that, Jamal, I don't know about you, but my ears perk up.
That culture means there's something behind the scenes that he's not happy with. And like we all know, the one question in all the sports and in life period, if you're in the entertainment business, are you better than your problem? And Luka is better than his problem, so that's why I'm shocked this happened. Even with all that going on, he's 22. He can learn to mature. He can learn to see Kyrie or whoever the professionals are. J-Kid, you got one of the best point guards ever. So that's the shocking, jarring part of it, is that he's not 28, 29, about to, leave his prime or whatever. He's still not even entering his prime. And so I would think, and that's why this is such a shock, guys like that, they don't get traded. Hey, we're going to deal with his stuff until he figures it out. We just hope for the best because he's that good. The fact he's 22, already been to a finals, already played in the Olympics.
He's 25, Jamal.
25, I'm sorry. The fact he's 25, still it's a 25 under list. He's still eligible for that too. So that's crazy.
But here's the thing, Jamal, and I tell Ocho this all the time when we talk about it. They'll tolerate you until they can replace you. Once they got a deal that says, you know what, we can win right now. I like Kyrie and AD in the pick and roll. AD has never really had a guy this dynamic in the pick and roll. Rondo. And you remember when he had Rondo in New Orleans, the numbers that AD put up? Well, Kyrie is a very similar point guard in the pick and roll. But for them to trade a 25-year-old that's 5 times first-team All-NBA, it tells me everything I need to know. I don't need to hear nothing else. They can say this or they can say that, but you know it had to be bad, Jamal, because everything that you said is absolutely true. Because you say, you know what? His production is better than his problems. But they say, no, hell, it ain't. His problems supersede his production.
I have a question. Both of you could probably answer it better than I can. Obviously, I don't really understand how or the intricacies on why he's not eligible for the 5-year $345 Supermax.
He got traded.
So simply because he got traded, it's in the contract letting you know once you get traded somewhere else, you're no longer eligible.
You can only get a 4-year deal because he was almost like almost a bird situation. That was the team that drafted him. He had been this many times a first team All NBA player. So therefore, a la Jason Tatum, a la JB. So guys that have been there for a particular, what is it like 5, 6 years, Jamal?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
And then you a first team All NBA. You have to be a first team. You have to be one of the All NBA selections.
The last year or two, something going into it.
So he's done that. So he was eligible 5 years, $345. So think about that. He would have been eligible to get another contract that was probably going to be north of $400 million at the age of 30.
But I think you answered it right there. I think that was an aha moment. I think that's what it is. I think they were more scared if they gave him that money and they knew they couldn't do nothing with him at that point. He runs the organization totally. Versus right now, like, you know what, let's cut our losses. We see where this is going. And I think that might be part of it.
And because here's the thing, Jamal, they believe that a lot of these injuries, these knick-knack injuries, is because of his condition. It's because of his training. It's because of his diet. It's because of a lot of things behind the scenes. We say this with Joel Embiid. We say this with Zion Williamson. Not to say injuries don't happen, but I believe, the Mavericks believed, a lot of these injuries are self-induced. You're not taking care of your body. It's being reported at one point he weighed 270, 265, whatever the case may be. But Jamal, you know this. You played this game damn near you played it 2 decades. When somebody moves a player like this, we've never seen it. That'd have been like they moving Magic Johnson in his prime. Them moving Larry Bird, Michael Jordan in their prime. 25-year-olds don't get moved unless the behavior is so egregious. They say we just can't control it.
But we see this. Go ahead, Ocho.
Maul, your eyes and your ears are still, even if you're not playing, your eyes and ears are still with the NBA. Do you know, have you heard anything what the issue might be, where it came to a head where they just had to get rid of him?
I mean, let's just take a step back and think about when they went to the finals, right? Luka's having a celebration beer. Mike Conley grabbed that so quick. So you can't speculate, but there had to be stuff behind the scenes that was just like, you know what? He's not changing what we want him to be, and if we get in this contract, it may be worse at this point. So sometimes the best way to see a person is not look, because if you look, they're gonna be on their best behavior. So sometimes you gotta say, let me just see how he's moving now. Let me see if he got a chef now. And this is with anybody, right? Let me see if they are diligent with their professionalism. You watching that just as much as you watching the talent now. But going back to how this happened so fast, let's go back and think a little bit. Nico Harrison was Kobe's rep with Nike. Rob Pelinka was Kobe's agent. So you know they had a friendship and relationship and all type of conversations they had. So that's why something like this can move so fast.
And not get out. But here's the thing. This is what we know. Young athletes that hurt become old athletes to get hurt. And the worst thing you can have is an old guy you owe him $200 million, you owe $300 million. Because I just read a thing the other day where it said Joel Embiid has made $125 million for the games that he's missed. You want that on Luka? You want Luka's salary? $345 million? And here he is. And they believe that those injuries, a lot of those have been exacerbated by his condition. And you remember he was nursing a knee injury last year in the championship game. In the NBA finals. And leading up to the finals, we like, well, how long can he go on that look? So now you hear culture. You see a guy that has no interest in playing any level of defense, not at all.
Listen, some got to give way. You know, everybody's going to have flaws. When you think about NBA players, hell, even NFL players, everybody has their strengths. His strengths and his identity is on the offensive side of the ball. So you know what you don't get from the defensive side of the end, but he's so great at what he does offensively. Hell, you got to take that.
So, how do you like this for Lakers? You watch Lakers close as anybody. How do you like the fit? I just don't.
Here's the thing. LeBron is at the age he can't play consistent defense. Luka doesn't play any defense. You traded your two best defenders, your wing defenders, Max Christie on ball, and AD. Your help defender on ball can defend 1 through 5. He's tremendous in the pick and roll. He's great at weak side help. Look, you got guys that can score, but who can they stop? I understand. This is what the Lakers, and I've studied the Lakers, and I know the Lakers. This is what the Lakers do. They got Wilt because they love superstars. In LA, you got to have them. Yeah. You cannot get them. You cannot survive as the Lakers without superstars. So they go get Wilt, and then they follow that up with Kareem, and they go get Shaq, and they go get LeBron, and now they go get Luka. You got to have that if you're going to be LA. If you're going to be the Lakers, you look at the Dodgers. That's what they do. You see Shohei. You see Mookie. That's what they do in order for you to survive out here. That's why they went and traded for Matthew Stafford, Ocho. You got to have a star. You got to have stars. Aaron Donald. You got to have stars to survive out here if you want to win, because there's too much going on in LA. We got beaches. We got Samo. We got rooftops. You got so much going on. And if you don't win, they're not coming to see you. But I'm telling you, I don't care. See, that's the notion that people make, Jamal, and you know this. A lot of times people say, well, as long as I'm doing my job, you shouldn't care about. No. It doesn't work like that. Because, see, your job is being a professional. That's your job. How you conduct yourself while you're doing your job, that's called being a pro. And say, we don't like the pro. We love the professional because he's giving us 29, 32, 34, 9 and 9. We know what he can do. But that pro eventually will catch up with us. His behavior and the way he does things that say, nah, we got to nip this in the bud. We got to break his plate at 25 because he's going to become Bro, we let him get 2 years into $60 and $70 million contract. Hey, that joker might come in. Hey, he might come into the game drinking a beer. He might come to and smoking on hookah. Because we know Luka love his hookah now, Jamal. He love his hookah.
Luka love the hookah. He love the hookah.
And when you sit back and look at it, Rick Carlisle left. He refused the contract extension. He had Luka at 22, 23. What coach you know would walk away from LeBron, walk away from a Magic Johnson, Larry Bird? That's what Luka's comparison is. I'm not saying he's not won a championship. He hadn't won an MVP, right, but that's what he is in today's terms. Ain't no coach walking away from that. Coaches might get fired, but coaches, because they know how hard it is to get one of those guys. Those guys like Luka, they don't come out in the draft every year. A LeBron, a Magic, a Bird, they don't come. So if I get one, I will keep this joker as long as I can. As long as they'll have me, I'll stay.
Yeah, and that's why this is so shocking. Like, we have never, ever seen this. And it's so open-ended, and it was so shocking. All we can do is speculate. We don't wish nothing bad on nobody, but we got to figure it out, right? Like, that's our job, to figure it out and educate people or give them a little bit of insight of why this happened. Who knows if it's, how they felt his body would be in 5 years. Like, all that stuff plays a part. But what's going to happen is where he's going and where Anthony Davis is going, and how, if the culture, quote unquote, changes, we're going to see in the next year or two how things lined up, and we'll have our answer in the future.
I also think now he just lost $117 million, Ocho. Basically 1 year.
Can he get
it cost him $117 million. Now, if that don't get your attention, it should have your undivided attention. Now, I don't know where y'all who makes $117 million a year. Maybe some CEOs, maybe Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe Mbappe.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe some of them, but ain't a whole lot of players making $117 million in salary, Jamal.
And you get California taxes.
Yeah. Now you got, just think about it. You could have been in Texas, no state income tax. Yeah. It's 13.5% in California. I don't know if you noticed anything. So 40 million, they gonna take 13.5%, that's 10. So they're going to take 4 million, another 3. So they're going to take about 6 million from you right there, Ocho, on 40.
Hey, listen, let's say he missed out on 117, right? Whatever he missed out. Let's say he gets himself together. Gets himself together, gets on the right track. Is it a possibility he can recoup that money on the back end in the next deal?
It all depends. Hold up. He's a big enough superstar that he can have deals outside, because he projects. That's one thing. He projects globally.
Right.
So, yeah, he can make that money. But you can't make up what you miss. It's kind of like time. Because, let's just say for the sake of argument, Ocho, he signs this deal with the Lakers, so 117 minus 345. So he gets 228. 228 good money. But just think, Jamal, you remember when Boogie missed out on what, 200 million by getting traded to the Pelicans, and then he gets injured. Never saw a payday again. Yeah. See, that's the thing, Ocho. You see, we're under the assumption, and we hope, we knock on wood, that nothing happens. But when you're continuously overweight, you put stress on your body. Your body ain't used to that. Your body ain't used to being trying to go up and down that court on a nightly basis, Jamal. At least 2 nights a week, sometimes 3 nights a week. When you meant to be 220, all of a sudden you trying to play at 260. Something got to give, Ocho. Something got to give.
Yeah.
You got a Ferrari and you keep hauling logs on top of it, and you see what happened to it.
That's like Ocho talking about he gonna play me one-on-one and he drinking Coke. You can't play me.
But hold on, you got to understand. I would go on 5 for 180 on McDonald's and cheeseburgers and fries and a Coke. So having to deal with you at my age with the skill set, with never having any injuries, that's easy work.
No, you was doing that at 25. The fries and stuff.
Listen. Age ain't nothing but a number. The man created that.
Oh, I know. I'm still 50 at 40 now. I know age ain't nothing but a number. I know that.
Whenever you're ready, I'm here. That's all I got to say.
I seen that food work against crime. That ain't working on me.
Let me ask you a question, Jamal. Who do you think won the trade?
I think Dallas won the immediate future, the immediate part of it. I think the Lakers won the future part of it. And the reason being is, AD, we don't know his health either. And as you know, Unc, like we've seen sometimes where it ain't his fault. And he's played games over the last few years, but he's going to have a different workload now. Like you said, he's going to be involved in pick and rolls a lot with Kyrie. Luka, that's a great transition from LeBron to Luka as a future superstar whenever LeBron decides he's had enough, because you got to have that in LA. So I think both sides wanted. It was just so weird. The weirdness of it was everything because who would have guessed it? Could you imagine Minnesota trading Ant right now?
No.
Or Boston trading Tatum or Denver trading Joker? It was just as shocking. That's why it's so crazy. And I'm going to tell you something else. I think there's going to be one, not at that level. I think it's going to be a shocking trade that happens over this next time period. I promise you. I think something's coming.
And if you look at what Minnesota gave up to get Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Dallas didn't want but one first-round pick. I'd say give me 27, right. Give me 29. I want a pick swap in between, and give me what you gave me.
Yes. Right. Yes. That's how I got to be because this dude he's generational. Luka's so good at basketball. Luka figured out the game a long time ago. When he's playing at times, he's not even playing against you, he's playing against your coach. Him and Joker got that quality. LeBron as well. Oh, you run this? I got you on that. Oh, what you gonna do, coach? Okay, I'm gonna expose him over there. Like he's one of those dudes. The games, I've always said he plays like he got headphones on, like he listens to Sade or something. He's so at peace with his game that it's crazy. But now he's gonna go to LA, so we gonna see.
I can't wait to see it. 3-time Sixth Man of the Year, the oldest man in NBA history to have a 50-point game, the only man in NBA history to have at least 50 with 4 different franchises. The one, the only Jamal Crawford. Good luck next year in calling games on NBC, Jamal. Congratulations. Job well done. Hey, really appreciate you stopping by to offer some insight into this big trade.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you. I give a shout out to my guy, DeJounte Murray, to get healthy. He's had an Achilles injury. We're rooting for him. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
All right, baby.
Now we're joined by former NBA Rookie of the Year, All-Star, former Warriors head coach, Mark Jackson. Mark, talk to us, bro. How you doing? Everybody's great, bro. We cannot complain, huh? Boost Mobile is now legit nationwide 5G network. So I have to take a break from all the jokes here for just a second and put my serious voice on because I would never ever joke about a 5G network that has invested billions in building 5G towers across the country. Not even once. Not even if Mr. Boost Mobile himself asked me to. There's nothing funny about it. Boost Mobile is now legit nationwide 5G network and also provide coverage across 99% of America. Seriously, visit boostmobile.com or your nearest Boost Mobile store location to learn more. Boost Mobile network together with our roaming partners covers 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speed, not available in all areas. Hey, turn your camera on, Mark. You try to pull a Shannon Sharpe, audio only.
How do I do that? Let me see. There you go.
There you go.
Coach, what's up,
going
Coach?
on, man? You good?
What's up, baby? You
killing
good?
it, man. Happy, proud for y'all.
Appreciate it, Mark. Mark, let's get into this trade, bro. It came out of nowhere. Normally, trades like this, it had to be a special type of relationship because you had to sit on it. Because prior to it dropping, there was no win of AD getting traded, nothing about Luka getting traded, and then boom, you're trading a 25-year-old, 5-time first-team All-NBA player that hasn't even reached his prime yet for Anthony Davis, a first-round pick, and Max Christie. Talk to us about the trade. You coached this game. You played this game. Talk to us. How does a deal like this happen?
But we don't know the truth of everything. That's first and foremost. This is an incredible deal that was pulled off by the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers, primarily Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka. It is, in my time of playing basketball, following basketball, coaching basketball, it is the most shocking trade pulled off without anybody leaking it, without anybody knowing anything about it. And then with everybody that got wind of it thought it was a fluke. We thought it was a fluke. I got 10 phone calls in a minute span saying this can't be real. Can you confirm it? I'm like, I don't know. I can't confirm it or not. It's shocking. Like you said, a 25-year-old guy, 5-time first-team All-NBA, generational talent. One thing I would have done if I was Nico Harrison and Dallas Mavericks, I'm not minimizing it to the Los Angeles Lakers and that one phone call. I am opening up the bidding for Luka Doncic, letting everybody know. Everybody's well aware of what he brings to the table. I got to assure. Now, the best deal may be Anthony Davis and the deal they got from the Lakers. I doubt it. At least I would have made sure the Lakers sent both of their first-round picks in. But but at the end of the day, you can't underestimate. He got a elite first ballot Hall of Famer in Anthony Davis, whose only concern is staying healthy. When he's on the floor, he's a dominant basketball player. And I believe it helps both teams if the Lakers do continue to add by adding a big. Both teams have a legitimate chance of winning it all. The Lakers, because they have two guys that can control a basketball game at all times on the offensive end. Dallas Mavericks, because they have a legit big man that prefers, from his own words, to play the power forward position. Now has two young, athletic, energetic bigs to protect him. And then you have a guy like Kyrie Irving, who's a special generational talent in his own right that can do some similar things as Luka and can carry them on the offensive end and create an offense for himself and his teammates. My former lead assistant, Pete Myers, who played for the Chicago Bulls, was a brilliant basketball mindset. A Hall of Fame general manager once said to him, "Do not make a trade that can cost you your job." And that's what Nico Harrison did. But I give him credit because so many guys willing to just cruise along. I can win 20 games, 30 games. I could go to the lottery time and time. I could be bad, and I got an excuse. He swung for the fences. And the only gamble, I think, he gave up a home run talent. But Anthony Davis has got to stay healthy, and they'll be good for the foreseeable future.
Hey, Coach, listen, for someone who played the game for a long time, for someone who coached the game as well, as a coach, and you think about it, I just want you to put your GM hat on for a quick minute. What can a player do to the magnitude and where it's that egregious to you trade somebody that young, that's that spectacular, and brings that much to a team, especially from an offensive standpoint? You got to talk to me. Just give me some type of better context on what could a player do behind the scenes that could warrant such a trade for someone.
That's what makes it shocking to me, and I think that's a great question. And what I don't like is all of a sudden stuff come out that didn't come out all along. So let's be fair to him. But at the end of the day,
right,
the things we know about, he can be a better conditioned athlete. He can be better committed on the defensive end. He can have a better competitive fight and spirit defensively, not every fifth possession or every 10th possession. I could show you 50 clips of Luka Doncic more than capable of defending and having game plan discipline on the defensive end of the floor. I can show you 200 clips where he lays down, points the finger and blames somebody else. I would say to my ownership or my management that's interested in trading Luka Doncic because of those reasons, I would tell them personally, that's on me. He's been in this league 6 years. I got to do a better job of bringing that out of him and holding him accountable, defending at a high level, competing at a high level, being a better leader. And that would be on me.
What about? Go ahead, Ocho.
Well, hold on. I'm confused. Now you think about what Luka is able to do from the offensive standpoint, right? And one of the issues that he may have is his lack of ability to play defense. But if he is a little bit better on defense, Coach, wouldn't that take away from his offensive production?
That sounds like a receiver that didn't want to block when it wasn't his catch.
That's what I'm talking about, Jack. That's what I'm talking about, Jack. Get it.
Just because you're not going to you on this play doesn't give you a license to chill. You still have a responsibility.
Right.
And my job as a coach is to hold you accountable to that because it's not about you. Okay. It's about us. And other guys are watching. If I allow you to do that, and because they're rolling one day, I allow them to do that. I'm not saying I'm holding you to the same standard. I'd like that in the ideal world. Right. But we all have kids, and that's not how it works. But I'm going to hold you to a standard. What I will not accept in losing, I'm not going to. But I will not accept in winning. I'm not going to accept losing. I got to say to you.
Have you heard that before, Ocho? Where have you heard that saying, Ocho?
I heard it.
Because guys are watching. I can't now yell at you because I've been doing this for 20. I've been doing this for 5 years. Now you got a problem with it?
See, you never accepted it. Hey, you never accepted anything in a win. You wouldn't have lost. But here's the thing, okay, Jack, you said it's your job to hold him accountable for a little bit more for the defensive end. Are you holding yourself accountable for his unconditioned, his training, his eating?
Absolutely. Guess what? I gotta go see him in the off season. I gotta take a flight and go spend some time with him. I gotta send one of my assistants or my player development coaches. Go spend some time with him. I gotta send a chef with him. I'm gonna put you in position to be successful. I don't want you to just chase down being a 5-time all NBA team player or a generational talent. I want you to have the jewelry at the end of the day. I want you to be in that special room with those special guys that you deserve to be in. Don't just be in there with just everybody else. He's good enough and great enough to be in a room with just a handful of guys. He's that special of a talent, and I'm cheating him if I fall short of holding him accountable and putting him in position to take away those critics.
Jack,
right?
You can't. I tell my kids this. I can't want something from you more than you want it for yourself. And you got kids, and you know they've got to want it for themselves as much as you want it for them. If Luka doesn't want what you want for him, it's not going to work. It just won't.
That's true. But he is so special and so great. You can't convince me he don't want it. You just can't. He's so special and so great. You average a 40-point triple-double in the playoffs. You are the best player in the the Western Conference Finals. You're the best player in the He is a special, special talent. I'm not asking him to, and I'm going to tell him, I'm going to push the right buttons. I'm not asking you something that I believe you can't do. I'm not asking you to protect the rim and block shots. I'm not asking you to be a lockdown defender. I'm not asking you to be 200 pounds. Let's meet somewhere in the middle where now it's acceptable. I'm not asking you. I just don't want you to point the finger to a guy wide open in the corner, and you just stand there, and you know that's your man, and that's your responsibility. Everybody in the arena knows that's your fault. That should burn. That should upset you. I'm not saying it hasn't happened to me in 17 years of playing professional basketball, and in all these years of playing basketball, I got exposed at times on the defensive end, but I got upset about it, and I reacted to it and responded to it and held myself accountable.
Listen, Coach, one more question. I'm thinking about the mental part of it, right? The mental part, as far as Luka's concerned. How is he going to react? How is he going to? Is the trade? This is a wake up call. Is he going to fold? Now, two things can happen. Most of the time, you think you're a player, you're sitting on top of the world, you feel like you're invincible. You know, you're making good money. You're one of the best players in the NBA. And all of a sudden, you get that call. Oh yeah, you've been traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, what Luka are we going to get from this point going forward? Are we getting a pissed off Luka? Or are we getting a Luka that's going to fold under the pressure?
We don't know that Luka that you're talking about folding under pressure. All he's done in 6 years is be great, be a generational talent. He's been special.
What just happened,
He got
Coach?
traded.
Exactly. Now, getting traded can do something to your mental now.
Special.
It can do something to your mental. I'm talking about the different kind of pressure. Pressure playing and being comfortable in Dallas, knowing you that guy is different.
I agree with you with certain dudes, but I don't care where you put Tom Brady. He's Tom Brady in New England. He's Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Luka Doncic, we're not going to cheat his talent and his level of greatness. He's a special talent. I believe it'll elevate him conditionally wise and the fight, to fight defensively, because he's got a guy in the locker room that's a hero of his that he looks up to. Now, LeBron James certainly has his flaws at times, but one thing he does is take care of his body, and he's an all-time great. He's a special talent that if you just hang around, you've got testimonies from teammates, coaches, he's going to make you better. And Luka Doncic will be a better conditioned athlete and a better defender, competitively speaking, because of being around LeBron James. That's one thing LeBron James will bring to the table without a doubt.
But you know what, Jack? I had a guy to tell me one time, he said they'll tolerate you until they can replace you. Luka is a professional basketball player. It seems to me Nico Harrison had a problem with him being a pro, which was how he conducted himself in being a professional basketball player. You don't it had to get to a point, Mark, and you know this. Having played, Mark, you played 17 years?
Yes.
You played 17 years. You coached in this league. In order for you to trade a generational talent, because we've never seen it happen before, at 25, the behavior behind the scenes, it had to be egregious. There's no other way around it, Jack. There's no other way.
You're right. That 25-year-old generational talent, we've never seen it before unless he asked to be traded. That's a different ballgame. This guy didn't ask to be traded. He said he wants to spend his life as a Dallas Maverick. So there is clearly something that made them pull the trigger and make the trade and pick up the phone and call it the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know what it is, and that'll come out at some point.
It's going to come out. But if it don't come out in the wash, it'll come out in the rinse.
He's too great of a player that you just decided to pick up the phone. No, I can handle think about it. With his lack of defensive intensity for 48 minutes and his lack of conditioning overall, the dude was still a 5-time first-team All-NBA player in 6 years.
Yep.
So I'm going to live with some of that and try to make them better. I'm not just going to pick up the phone on a random day and call the Los Angeles Lakers.
Right.
So it's something that pushed the button to make them make this call.
But Jack, my antenna raised when Rick Carlisle wouldn't sign the contract extension. You know how hard it is to get a generational player. They don't fall on trees, and a lot of coaches never get an opportunity to coach a generational talent. Rick Carlisle didn't accept the contract extension, and he had a 22, 23-year-old Luka. That should have raised the antenna. But Rick really raised my antenna when I heard Nico Harrison say culture. When you hear that, Jack, I know your antenna raised too. Because we see this with Zion. We believe his conditioning plays a role in his injuries. We see that with Joel Embiid. We believe his conditioning plays a role in his injuries. I believe it is my estimation, and I'm just looking at this from a distance. I believe the Mavericks believe that Luka's condition or lack thereof, his training, his eating habits, play a role in those injuries. And I got to give you $70 million this summer for next summer for 5 years? Oh, no, Jack, I can't do that.
Oh, I could do it.
Oh, no.
Oh, I can do it. And you would do it too. The guy's the top 5 player in the world. There's no question about his ability. The thing I got a problem with is we compared him to Joel Embiid and Zion Williamson, 2 guys that have a tough time staying on the floor. That's not Luka's issue. He plays hurt. He plays hobble. Not 100%. Doesn't take care of his body, not in the best condition physically. He doesn't come in shape and can't, but he plays. He loves to play. Those other 2 guys have missed a substantial amount of games. I think culture is the conditioning. It's how we act on the bus. It's how we act on the plane. It's how we act in the locker room. We don't know that story. I'll give you an example. Jimmy Butler. Report come out. Jimmy Butler had the plane waiting for an hour while everybody waiting for him. Are you kidding me? That's not on Jimmy Butler. That's on me. I'm not waiting an hour for nobody.
That's what happened?
Reporters. The plane is taking off and we're leaving Jimmy Butler. If you wait for Jimmy Butler, then you're setting yourself up for disaster. You're setting yourself up for a culture that allows that. No, we're going to set the tone right away. We're leaving this guy. And if he shows up to the game, we'll handle it then. But
what kind of president are you sitting with Luka when you know he's out of shape, when you know he's not conditioning properly, when you know he's not training properly?
The dude is averaging 30 and 9. He's the best player on the floor every night. Yeah. So you got to find other ways to push the button to get him to respond. Right. You gotta pull him in the office by yourself and talk to him. You got to pull him in the office with Kyrie Irving. You got to pull him in the office with the GM. You got to pull him in the office with ownership. Bring in some former greats. Bring in Dirk Nowitzki. Whatever trick you got to do to push the button.
Dirk's there.
No, whatever.
He sees Dirk every day.
Whatever the trick is you got to do to push the button, your job, my job is to find that button and push it because he is great and he's an all-time great. But I want to put him in that special room that he deserves to be in. I'm not like this guys you had to talk up to be great. When he walked into this league, he was great. You don't have to hype him up and talk him up. He's great from day one. So now let's get you into that special room. And it's something that you deserve. And you're cheating yourself. Forget about me. You're cheating yourself if you don't put yourself in the best possible position to get there.
Does he want to be in that room? You want him in that room. Does he want to be in there? Because if he wanted to be in there, Jack, all the greats that you mentioned, that's in the handful of guys, did any coach had to hold their hand? Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Bird, Magic, Kareem, give me some more. Elijah Wan. The handful of guys that's in that room, did they have to be spoon-fed?
I don't.
Hey, do you think, Jack, you think the culture and where it comes from is a little bit different as opposed to all the guys that Unc just named and their approach to the game of basketball? Maybe that might be the issue.
It might have something to do with it, but the dude was a pro at 13 years old. He's been a pro since he's been 13 years old. He's a special talent. And I agree with you with those guys that you named. But there's some guys, and I don't have them off the top of my head, but some guys had to be pushed along. Some guys didn't love basketball, and they're in that special room. Tim Duncan didn't touch the basketball until he got into high school, I believe his junior year. He was a swim dude. He was an elite swimmer. He's in that room. Luka Doncic is great enough to get in that room, and I believe he's going to get there. And I believe putting on purple and gold and having a new challenge in his life is going to get him there. But he also has to have coaches, management, ownership, leadership in that locker room that holds him accountable and has the same voice as the people that's trying to pour into his life instead of high-fiving him and hugging him and giving him that when he won a ball game. No, let's talk about you won the game, but how about the defensive stop that you gave up on that almost cost us the game? So we can have that conversation too. Got to surround himself with people that are not yes men, but hold him accountable and push buttons and inspire him to want it as bad as we want it.
Short, long term. Who do you believe won the trade? Short, long term. I love AD to the Mavs. Kyrie in the pick and roll. Great help defender. Can defend 1 through 5. Tremendous in the pick and roll. Can help with weak side defense. The Lakers got a little lax on defense. LeBron can't sit in the chair anymore at 40. Luka, we talked about that. Doesn't really want to play. Austin Reeves, people attack him because they can. The Lakers got substantially weaker on the defensive end.
They set themselves up for the next 10 years, though. You can't take that away from them. I think both teams are in position to win a championship. If you're the Lakers, your next move is your best move. They got to find a big to clean up some of the mess and protect the weakness that they have on the defensive side of the floor. Protect the rim, play the pick and roll, hold the fort down a little bit as dribble penetration affects you. I like what the Dallas. I think both teams have helped themselves. Because I can't undersell how great Anthony Davis is, and clearly I already raved enough about Luka Doncic. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing all plays out. But I think the Lakers cannot be judged on just winning a championship or not winning a championship this year. They got a generational talent, which is hard to find, that puts them in position for after LeBron James leaves.
But let me ask you a question. Let's just say, and I'm hoping, hey, you know I root for the Lakers. I'm hoping Luka's like, man, I just cost myself $117 million. Everybody believes I can be special. I am special. Let me do what it takes in order to be in that room that Mark Jackson keeps talking about. There's only a handful of guys in there. There are only a handful of guys that deserve to be mentioned of being in there. There are some guys can peep in the room, but there's some guys that's sitting at the table in the room.
Right.
Let me get on my conditioning. Let me hire me a chef. Look, I'm not saying I'm not saying Michael Jordan smokes more cigars than anybody. And still up with that there and bust them up, Mark. Some guys drink. Some guys can do that. But the one thing you know about MJ, he came in shape. LeBron loves his wine and occasionally gets a cigar, but you know he don't cheat the process. And the one thing about those guys that are in that room, they didn't cheat the process. You're right. Tim Duncan didn't play basketball until high school, but Pop, he was coachable. Pop got on him to coach everybody else. Tim Duncan, when he stepped on that floor, you know what you're going to get, but you also knew he was a pro off the court. He was going to come in shape. He was going to be conditioned. And he's going to be ready to go, and he didn't have no ticky-tack injuries.
It points the finger directly to the player. They got to want it. And I believe that he's going to be in that room because his talent tells me that he's going to be in that room. I believe he wants it. I believe this situation will enhance his desire to prove people wrong. And I believe that if you are a general manager, ownership, or a coach, or a superstar player playing alongside of him, you also have a responsibility to hold him accountable and to deliver the message to him when he's falling short from that. And I believe he's got to be able to be man enough to empower those people to do exactly that. Because at the end of the day, I know they want what's best for me. If they want what's best for me, then it's going to be what's best for this team. And ultimately, I'm going to be in that room. What he doesn't want to do is what you talked about, put his head peeking in that room and then he get pushed out of there. No, he deserves to be in that room constantly because his talent tells us that.
Oh, yeah.